Okay, we're live. So welcome to a episode in of the Nordic Growth Podcast. And normally this podcast is has a lot to do with KPIs, building and scaling your companies, maximizing your invested time and money, 10xing or 100xing, whatever you want to like think about regarding building companies. This episode is going to be a guest. It's Chris Walker. We've had podcast recordings together before. This episode is not going to be anything like the ones we used to have and the ones you've been in. Actually, I'm going to you're in Costa Rica now. Only that is the thing. Like if you would have asked me like 6 months ago, you're going to do a podcast with Chris Walker when he's in Costa Rica, traveling the world, kind of doing stuff, not managing all the people and all the successful companies. I would have said, not that guy. No. He's going to be scaling and building, and he's super successful. He's done everything I've dreamt of doing. And then I listened to a few of your newer episodes in your, you've done Refined Labs. You've managing a bunch of different companies. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but we're going to have a totally different conversation. Something I'm very, very invested in building companies without burning out, building companies without forsaking things, like thinking about soft things and not the KPIs and scaling and everything, ARR and MRRs and whatever, all the kind of numbers and figures out there. So it's going to be cool. I think some of you are going to be like, this is not the SaaS Chris Walker we're used to listening to. And that's exactly the goal for this episode, is that it shouldn't be. And I don't know, Chris, if we've lost you forever and if that's a good or a bad thing. In any way, it's going to be a totally different talk. So I'm going to start by letting you introduce yourself for the ones who might not know who you are. There might be a few still. Where you came from, where you are today, and basically what we're going to be covering in today's podcast.
Amazing. Thanks for the intro. Hey, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris Walker. Starting in 2019, I became my first full-time entrepreneurial venture called Refined Labs. At that point, I had basically no money, no social media status, not a lot of self-confidence. And through building my first company, I was sold a lie, I guess, that many of us are sold, that material external success, when you achieve X amount of money or X amount of followers, or this many people love your podcast or say that you're great or some level of status, anything outside of you, that when you get to this point, you'll eventually be happy or feel okay or satisfied. And the reality is that it's a never-ending hamster wheel. You're like, when I make $1 million, I'll feel better. Then you get to 1 million, you realize you don't feel better. Then it becomes 5 million. Then you get to 5 million, doesn't work. You become 10 million. Same thing with followers or anything else. And so around 2022, from my business growing from 0 to more than 20 million in revenue and 0 employees to more than 100 people working on the team, I saw that reality fracture, that this is not how it's actually supposed to go. And I turned everything inward to me and said, instead of focusing outward on what are the things that I need to reach for to feel okay or feel successful, and how do I just embody that in myself? And as I started to do that, my decisions and how I went about life became very different. And I'll just mention a couple of important things that I see, especially in the tech world. The first one is urgency. So the need to rush and force and work 15 hours a day and do a bunch of stuff, and to look really deep into why are we in a rush? Why am I in a rush? And when you look really deep into that concept, you'll find the only reason that you're in a rush is to impress people, is to show other people what you're doing or how good you are or something like that because you don't truly believe it and embody it for yourself. The forcing is a huge one for me. Um, Pushing, whether especially for money or external validation, pushing and forcing um, to try to get further and faster in your business. I think it leads to a ton of burnout, improper decisions, and things like that. And so I'm looking forward to getting deeper into the conversation. But that's sort of the story. And over the past 2 years, I have come to the conclusion that the idea of a static sense of self is false. That many people think I have a fixed identity, and it's totally untrue. And so I'm in the process, or I have basically collapsed my old identity, which is I am a builder, workaholic, founder, volume content producer, forcer, trier, looking for external success, all those things that built my last identity. I'm in the process of collapsing. And stepping into a new one, and everyone has the ability to do that with intention.
Okay, so before we continue, I just want people to understand. Like, I might be like, since we're both in sales and marketing and SaaS and build companies, we're in the same kind of industry area. For me, you've always been somebody I've followed. I kind of copy pasted whatever you do in Refine Labs because there's a really cool stuff. We're doing this for our clients as well. But like people need to understand that you're here now in this podcast in a kind of a very laid back manner in Costa Rica. Like, this wasn't you 6 to 12 months ago. And I just want to find out, like, how much of you spoke about identity. So how much of your identity was tied to the success of Refine Labs? Let's go there. And what did this actually cost you personally? Like, do you have any connection there? You spoke about identity. Like, how much of it was you were the same thing as Refine Labs and then something happened? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, and I think many people, many entrepreneurs, it's not visible, but underneath the surface, their self-worth is tied up in how productive or externally successful their business is. So that was me in 2020, 2021, working, building, trying to use that as a method to feel better. And as you keep pushing, forcing, trying, you get further and further away from who you really are. And as you move further and further away from that, you do things that are outside of your alignment, and you watch basically like things start to fall apart and crumble. So as soon as my business hit a peak and then started going down, my self-worth went from I'm the best to I'm the fucking worst.
How could that be, though?
And
Like, people listening, how could that be? Like, you're super successful. The company's super successful. The more successful you get, the less you like basically what you're doing. I've heard you talk about you're feeling like a prisoner in your own company. Like, when was the moment when you actually realized that you built yourself into a cage and this is not what I want to do? Like, how did that happen?
I think sometime in the beginning of 2022, and this is even before the revenue of the business started to decline slightly due to the SaaS winter crash, whatever. That I found myself on 14 Zooms a day, sitting in a room, like basically like talking to people in meetings that were not productive, taking me outside of my core skill set, like realizing that there's a huge difference between being the visionary or the architect of a business and being the operator of a business. Recognizing that those two things are totally different, and it changed the game for me and how I run entrepreneurship, how I build businesses, has made me dramatically, incredibly more productive, more financially successful, more in tune with myself, just generally a better state of being. And so you start to see, like, I don't have control over my time. My calendar controls me. I don't have control over my location. Like I have to be in certain places or locked in my office all day. I don't have the freedom to choose that. I don't have the freedom to choose the people that I spend time and space with. That the people are coming to me in meetings, or I have to take sales calls, or I have to fight a fire with a client, or I have to sit in an executive meeting with people. I don't have the choice around that. I don't have like freedom of creative expression. I can't, I don't have the space of a day to go out and explore and be creative and try something new and let those connections form. There are a ton of different types of freedom outside of financial, like financial or monetary success, that I started to see how it felt like a jail. Let's be honest. And many entrepreneurs that I speak about communicate the exact same thing, which is that I chase external success and validation until a point, and then the whole thing collapses, and I realize that that whole thing is a lie, and that there's more to the story.
And do you think that this is the way it has always been? This is the way it has to be, unless you try to turn into somebody else, like change your identity, as you said. Is this the way it always goes? Are there super successful companies where the founder, the owner, the entrepreneur is also successful? We're going to talk about a lot about freedom, because like this is what you don't get when you scale and you invest more in people, in your company. Your responsibility grows. It kind of limits your freedom. But does it have to be this way? Isn't there any way to have 200 people employed and still enjoy your freedom? Like, you're a smart guy. I've been following you for many, many years. Like, why didn't you why did you allow yourself to become a prisoner in your own company? Like, what happened?
Because when you act from a place of it's underlying ego of I need control over things, I need external success to feel valuable or worthy. Those were the two biggest ones for me. Those two things, the decisions that you make end up being decisions that are not in alignment with yourself. You bring on the wrong customers, you hire the wrong people, you're trying to go too fast, so you start moving too fast and the structure starts to break down. Wrong customers, wrong contracts, wrong team members, all to scale fast. And what actually happens is it fucking moves you way slower. You just pay for it. It feels like you're going fast for a little while, and then the whole thing like basically dissolves. And you end up going a lot slower than if you had just done the right things the whole time. And it really comes down to how the operator creates the reality of their business. It's I think it's about as simple as that.
And eventually you went for a sabbatical, you went to Fiji, you went traveling around, and something happened. Like, things came to you, you kind of found time with yourself. Tell us a bit about like the transition from the business KPI guy to the one who actually understands we have one life. It's about freedom. Actually, correct me if I'm wrong, 10 different versions of freedom. And that's basically, and it's not only like you have a lot of money in the bank, you have a lot of cash, and that's freedom. It's a lot of different things as well. But let's start with like, what happened like in your person, like as Chris Walker, something happened, things changed, and now we're here.
So one is that this didn't just like happen. Like I didn't
Okay.
go away for a month and then all of a sudden this all thing changed. So let's sort of break it down.
Yeah.
Just like how I was able to look at the B2B sales and marketing landscape and quickly dissect all of the problems, all the holes, communicate new frameworks, build basically a new reality around how you do sales and marketing. That that system I've now sort of taken to human evolution is what's happening right now. And having experienced it for myself, I've now come to the conclusion that all humans run on an operating system. And to my knowledge, right now there are six versions with intermediate steps in the versions. Version one is a default state of fear, scarcity, external validation, a state that I lived in for most of my life. Step two is awakening, where the cracks start to evolve, where you start to see, hey, like, why the fuck do I go to why do I go to bachelor parties? Why should people get married at 27? What is all this societal conditioning that people have told me? What is the school system all about? What did it actually teach me? Is it helping people or hurting people? You start to fracture the idea and the concepts and the constructs. What does money mean? What does time mean? Version three basically becomes a level of expansion where you realize that through my thoughts, energy, and beliefs, I can create and design the reality I experience. I'm a co-creator in what I experience. That's a pretty high level state, and that's only version three. Version four becomes energetic mastery, where you can basically like use your energy to magnetize and attract ideas, people, places instantly. Version five is architecture, meaning that I can transcend past, present, and future time and be able to architect realities instantly. And version six is that like I am reality. And so when you break those down, I truly understand that most people from level 4 to level 6, when you hear that, have no idea intellectually what it means. And so I get it. And just because you don't intellectually understand it or you can't doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And so I have now lived all levels, if that makes sense. So I've experienced all of them. The only way that, and as you increase the levels, the number one most profound thing that happens is how you interact with time. And so at the beginning, you have basically you're controlled by time. It's urgency. I feel behind. I'm in a rush. Like, do I have enough time? I need to move faster. I should have been here by 27, but I'm not there yet. So time controls you. And as you elevate in layers, you control time. So imagine this, like most people will not believe or understand this, but imagine that at a certain level, you can hit pause on time. So you can pause time, leave reality, go and live infinite lifetimes or centuries somewhere else, have come back with 10,000 years of work and knowledge, come back to reality, hit play and continue, and no time moved.
Okay, so level 3, I'm all in. Potentially level 4 as well. Level 3, definitely. I speak to people every single day or week, and I say, hey, if you can think, you can produce, and you can create. A thought you will be able to manifest, like, let's say, The Secret, the book The Secret. Like, there are people, Bob Proctor, there are a lot of different, I've read all the books, like manifestation, visualization, and think and you ask, you will receive, think, you will create. So, all good. Then you started moving into level 4, 5, and 6. And exactly as you said, people are going to, including myself, and I would say I'm not religious. I believe there is something in the cosmic, like in the universe, we're all connected. We're all the same thing, like water drops, whatever we call it. Like it could be something like that. But when you said that you've done all, including 4, 5, and 6.
Experienced all of them,
Experienced.
yes.
Like, do you have any examples on how you've traveled in time or paused time and done, like, let's give us a few unbelievable, I don't know how concrete it could be, but from level 4 and up, what would that look like?
So imagine in level 3 that it's mostly intellectual, okay? So it's like, I do it. I write it. I did this for years. I write down, here's who I am, here's what I believe, here's what I'm going to accomplish, and 2 years later, the things that I wrote down, I accomplished. My business did a certain amount of money. I start speaking on stages. So you do manifest, but generally the manifestation is slow. Slow, takes a lot of effort, and when you get there, the form that it manifests in generally doesn't make you happy because you're manifesting from ego. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
sure, my business
Yep.
was huge and I'm speaking on big stages, but I don't like, I thought that's what I wanted, but it didn't make me feel any better, if that makes sense. So you transcend from using your thoughts and your beliefs, which is powerful and a level that you must do to be able to continue
Mm.
to ascend, to the next level, which is purely energetic. So it's almost like you bypass the thoughts and you move right into, um, like, I feel this way, or I know this is happening, and then boom, it happens. I'll give you an example. This is my first experience with this, and I'll give a couple of hints so that people can try them.
Cool.
Some are
Yep.
really powerful. Some will work depending on how blocked you are or not. And to be clear, these levels are already existing inside of every human. It's just whether, and so all it is wiping away all the layers and blocks that get in the way of you being who you really are and having the capabilities that you're born to have. Um, and so before I would write down, my business does $1 million a month, and then 2 years later, and a lot of effort and time and pain and chaos, my business does that. Now I write, bring me an AI developer who's going to build this next venture or product for me. And then 3 days later, the perfect person calls me and says, "Hey, remember we met in Miami 2 years ago? I started
Mm.
developing this thing, and I had a sense that we should talk." And all of a sudden, they're perfectly aligned to my mission, and they're going to build the product for free, and they are excited to do it. Like, that's one example. It goes from long effort based stuff to instant. And I recognize that most people will not be able to turn that on right now. It's like it's a level. You'll feel a upgrade in your body. You will not be able to deny it. That, like, for me, energy, like pulses run through my body every day. I can
Okay.
feel it like electricity running through my body. So that's level 4.
Okay.
Level 5, if you want, or you want to pause here.
No, I just want to. I just is it kind of the same thing as thinking, manifesting, but basically, as what you said was, I can do it instantly. Is it the same way of thinking? Is the process the same? Just that you believe more in that you can get it at once. I mean, why couldn't a level 3 manifestation be the same thing? But the difference will be, I want to have it now. Like, is it, the time frame?
Just
That's the
even the
difference.
language, I want
Okay.
it now, implies that you
Yeah.
don't have it. It creates separation from the goal, requires time and
Yeah. Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
like very subtle, it's not the
Yep. Yep.
language, it's the energy underneath the language, right? So now I can, like, people say things and it
Mm.
doesn't matter what words they're saying. I can hear the underlying things of what's actually going on. Like, there's other
Yeah.
depths of than just the vocal language, what people say.
Okay.
So in that, it's about knowing that it's done already, not
Yep.
being attached to how it happens, when it happens. Just know that it's coming, and then through that certainty and the energy that you bring to it, you pull stuff. You basically pull it to you. It's
Okay.
a skill, a very high level skill that most humans will never reach.
Can you practice to be able to get better at it? Like, or is it built in?
I practice every day. I see it happening for myself. So I can ask for ideas. I can ask for supernatural abilities, like I did that the other day.
Okay.
And I can have things. I basically, like, one time, align everything that's necessary to accelerate my mission. Like, that's boom. Like, I leave. I don't care how it happens. I leave it up. Boom, and I just watch. I just watch magic come to me. Certain people showing up, ideas, connection points of, like, somebody invites you to dinner, brings you here. They have a friend. That friend now is involved in your mission, gives you a certain idea, drops it. You just watch it all unfold. You have to let go of trying to control things, which was the hardest one for me, because I
Mm.
want to say, here's the road, and here's the million different little steps. It's what everybody teaches you. We need a strategy. We need a plan. I In February, my girlfriend and I were going to do an exercise where she got the big ass calendars. I don't know if you've seen those from Jesse Setzer or
Yeah.
whatever, where you
Yeah.
plan out your whole year and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. These are the big things I'm going to accomplish, things like that. Fuck. Like, if I spent my time building that calendar, like, I feel like I've accomplished more in the first 4 months of this year than I would have in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
through the planning, you limit yourself to linear time and step-by-step progress, and it like actually slows you down a ton. So that gives you an example. And so as you move up these levels, what I've experienced, the only way that I can explain it is two different ways. It feels like there's an avalanche falling to you because time basically like folds on top of each other. So a day eventually feels like 2 days, eventually feels like 4 days, eventually feels like 8 days, like an exponential sort of increase. So all of a sudden, one day it feels like a year or like a month, which is super powerful for people. It's not like, oh my God, I'm bored, I don't have anything to do. It's not like that. It's just that your output per unit of time exponentially grows.
So level 4, that is level 4 where you actually spoke about this AI resource or guy you spoke
Energetic
of, like,
mastery. Yeah.
energetic mastery. Okay, so level 5 then, like, what would that be in
Reality
terms of
architecture.
example? Okay.
Yeah, so most people will never experience this. There's probably somewhere between 0.1% and 5% of humans on Earth that are capable with this.
Okay.
The core belief or the core hypothesis around it is that all humans are encoded with missions and powers. That's why my podcast is called We Are Encoded. My new business is called Encoded. Those codes can be unlocked when somebody removes certain levels or layers of self-doubt and conditioning and things like that. They can interact with another human that operates at a frequency, and it's like a key that just unlocks something in them. They can enter a place or a space in certain places, can activate codes, and all of a sudden they unlock this new ability that they have or this new level inside of them. So that's like the core underlying theory. And so in reality architecture, which is the 5th level of a 6th version operating system that I understand to this point, is where you realize that everything, past, present, and future, all exist right now. People have said that intellectually. You might be able to understand it intellectually, but to feel it and live it is an entirely different thing. I know. Where we do not move through linear time. It's not like there's one road that's moving and you have to follow the road of time, which is how most people see it. Time is like a big holographic sphere and you're in the middle. And so all of these different potentials around you all exist right now, and time doesn't move. You move through the potentials. And so when you're able to see and realize that, the architecture aspect of it is being able to see and connect with the future timelines. They're existing now. And when you're able to see them, then you can resonate with them and basically instantly shift between them. That's the core theory. It's how time changes.
Okay, and exactly, yeah, you can probably understand on a theoretical level, and this has been a topic of discussion for many years during humanity. Basically, is it linear or not, and do we have parallel universes? Do we like have a bunch of different questions on this? But like, are you? What about religion? Let's dive super deep into like. Why are we on this earth? Are we programmed? Are we operating systems? Are we like, are we hardware and software? Are we programmed? Can we like the AI thing, everything about AI, it's going to be like part of humans. Humans going to be part of AIs. We're going to be kind of the same thing because we can build, program, whatever. Like, what's your take on religion? Who put us here? Is what you're experiencing something religious? Are you one of the,
I don't view it
for
that way
lack of
anymore.
words, chosen ones? Like, what is the 0.1% of whatever? Like, what do you think? You used to, but
Yeah.
you don't think like that anymore.
I don't.
Okay.
Let's make sure we cover level 6 because it'll get to there.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah.
I believe it's like part of a journey. That religion can be an on ramp to something, but then over time, for me particular, and I can't speak for everybody, the dogma, the doctrine, the rules, the obedience, like that stuff doesn't resonate. It didn't never resonated with me. So the lessons and the things that were in there, I found true, and I started to see how God, I'll put in quotes at that point, that's how I saw it, was I would call it parting the sea for me. Like miracles would happen for me over and over and over again. And I was like, this feels like it's not real. Like it feels like someone else is doing this for me. So that's one part. Then I had an evolution into spirituality, which is more, and I think there's a stigma of what spirituality means. The people that wear certain clothes and sit there and, whether they do a bunch of psychedelics or do breath work and meditation all day or sit around, it's very ritual based. It's woo woo. That's not how it worked for me. And that path will eventually lead you to a dead end from my experience. Somewhere between level 3 and level 4, you will basically get stuck at that level, which many humans are. That's what they're encoded to do, and it's perfectly fine. It's mostly about there's no one level is better than the other. It's maximizing your own potential of what you're meant to do. It's really important to know that. And then eventually, like even now, there's a hierarchical structure where like God is above me and I'm like subordinate to God and I have to listen and do what they say or something like that. I do not view it that way at all anymore. And I think it transcends religion at this point. I view it as a relationship
Yeah.
with source field, the
Yeah.
energetic field that controls and powers all of us. And I have a direct linear relationship with it, meaning that it's not better or bigger than me, and I'm not bigger or better than it, and that the ideas and information and things are things that have already exist energetically, need to be done, and I'm chosen to have it flow through me to get it done. And as more I steward those ideas and information and responsibilities and treat them with care and not ego and things like that, that I open up more capacity, get more ideas, more resources, more people, more stuff. And there's a huge shift that goes on in for me at least. It went from personal survival and success to business success, where business now impacts your employees, your customers. There's a smaller ecosystem in it, and then eventually shaping into I want to impact humanity and evolution of humans. And so that's the progression that I've gone through. That switch happened in February, where it's like, whoa, like there's a lot more happening here, and there's a lot more that I'm supposed to do. That was the beginning of my quote unquote sabbatical, and now it's sort of been a rapid acceleration. Important for people to know that I went from level 3 to level 5, 6. I oscillate between level 5 and 6 right now, in like 2.5 months. So the first 2 levels took me like 5 years as I started to be aware and have intention. And then like I mentioned, it's like an avalanche once you cross over that level. And for me, it was an avalanche.
So much to take in. But I'm super interested. I'm kind of a spiritual guy myself. I'm not religious. If you say God, I wouldn't know. But I've watched. I don't know if you read the Three Body Problems. If you're into quantum physics, there are a lot of different things like in how the world is built and everything. Like the Three Body Problem has to do with. I don't know if you've seen the series or read the books, but basically aliens coming to visit us 400 years into the future. You have a headset, you put it on, you experience kind of the Matrix. You're in a game, you're playing a game. What I love about that is I very often see life as a game where you need to level up, move to the next level. That's basically what you're talking about, to move to the next, like to 3, 4, 5. And it doesn't always have to do with competing with other people and like keeping up with the Joneses. You mentioned that before. It's not about that at all. It's about growing as a person, as as yourself, and then moving up into the next level. So it's kind of religion for me, but at the same time it isn't. So if you move God out of the equation, would you still say it's kind of a spiritual thing that all humans basically can go through if they know how to do it, and if they let themselves experience this? Is it opening up? Is that the thing to start with? Or is it like how can we try to apply this to ourselves, at least to get to level 3 or potentially level 4 as well?
So let me go to level 6 because it'll set this in here.
Perfect.
So inside of level 6, which is pure source, what happens is that you start to merge with the field and with everyone. And so I experience now, not always, but I can see myself, a part of myself in everything and everyone. And when that happens, it's not empathy. It's like a whole different thing where I can go into someone's soul, see all the masks that they wear. So the people wear a bunch of different masks to basically cover up who they really are. You can see the mask for what it is, remove them, and show someone this is who you really are, and almost instantly get rid of all the stuff. And so that is one part of that piece, is being able to see that inside of other people, and to recognize that the masks are the blocker to the evolution.
How would
So
you
somebody
do that,
says,
though?
I'm an achiever, right?
Yeah,
I used to be
yeah.
an achiever. I'm an achiever just means I need to find my self-worth in productivity and achievement.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm independent is just filling a need for trying to control everything. And so you tell yourself a story and you wear a mask and trying to frame it as a good thing or part of your identity, but you can see underneath it what you're actually doing.
What kind of label would you put on yourself, though? If you're you're not an achiever, you're not an independent. What are you like? If you would label yourself, what are you?
At this point, I am approaching truth.
Truth. Okay.
Yeah.
Truth.
I
And
have
you.
been the achiever and the independent and all of those different identity labels. But
Yeah.
now I view myself as truth. I can show people back mirror who they really are, and become a channel for things that need to be done to be the way that they get done.
So your mission nowadays in life is like you've. Why were you put on this earth? What is your mission? What are you here to? What's your goal? Like, what's your mission?
There, in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be a bifurcation of the human species,
Okay.
where you have the majority of the population of humans will continue to move more and more toward robots. Neuralink, AI, productivity hacks, biohacking, sitting at a desk all day, robot productivity, continue to go, self-driving cars with Oculus, and it'll just keep going in that direction where you become more and more like a computer. That's clearly already happening, and it will continue to
Yeah.
accelerate.
Yeah.
And then there will be a smaller percentage of the population that goes more toward what I'm talking about here, which is evolving the capabilities of humans to a level that can outperform and outperform computers and AI.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so there'll be a bifurcation of humans, and there will be a different design of how reality in the world works for encoded humans. Think no currency, no government, no authority, no time, different places to live, clear segregation. Like, I do not want to be around people that are fear, scarcity. I can feel their energy. It takes me down. I don't want to be in cities anymore. It's too chaotic, too materialistic. I'm hypersensitive to that low vibration energy. And as more people do this, more people will realize the same thing and say, I don't want to be a part of this fucking society anymore. And we'll have a bifurcation in how society works. And my mission is to build that new society for people that are like us.
How do you? So let's talk level 6. Like, how do you do that? Like, is there any way for us to understand? Like, what is? You can see people, you can see the layers, you can remove stuff, and you can see them for who they are. Like, how does that happen? Like, do you have anything? Any nuggets?
From level 3 forward, so mostly basically 4, 5, and 6. It's not something that you learn or that you try to do.
Okay.
And so, as many times as I explain it to you, you likely still won't get it. I know, because that's what happened to me. And as many times as I give you a tip of here's something to try, here's something that you do, it's not about that. And it truly is remembering something that you already know how to do that is blocked. And so it's not trying or learning or doing, it's remembering something. And so that's a big part of it. But I will explain like what happened to me to get there, and most people won't understand it, but let's just go through and do it.
Yeah.
So the first step was basically seeing my detaching from myself. So I can stop time. I can go down this rabbit hole in my head saying, what would it be like to not be myself? What does it mean to be myself? Do what feels like a lifetime of research on that topic, come back out, restart time. It's been 5 seconds or 10 seconds, but I come back with this massive body of knowledge. And I'm like, oh, okay, like that's what it would be like to not be me. And then after I got that, I started to say, well, if that was the case, then what if part of me is in everyone and everyone is a part of me? And that is the only way I can describe it is like empathy on the absolute most massive track ever. Like it's different than empathy, but that's the only way I can describe it to a human. And then once you're able to see yourself inside someone and actually be them and feel them, and when you detach from needing to control them, I don't need anything from you. I have no attachment to what you do or when you do it. And when you don't have any of those needs, you can reflect back a clear truth to them rather than a distorted truth of what you want them to be or what you hope that they do or what you can get from them. And so everyone is a mirror, but most people have distorted mirrors where they reflect back to you something that they need in themselves. Someone doesn't feel good about themselves, they can reflect that back at you so you don't see yourself clearly. And so when you're able to remove all that, you can be what is called a calibrated mirror, where you reflect back exactly who they are without all of the layers between the mask that they wear.
Wow. And so, I mean, like thinking about what we were just talking about, there are not any weird or like unanswerable questions. So why not ask you now, while we're here, like, what happens when we die then? Like, do we even get born and then we die, or is everything an ongoing thing? Nobody actually dies. You mentioned everybody's part of everyone. If a few of us can feel and sense this and get to a higher level, is it like, are we all the same particles in a big cosmos? Like, can you just like explain the universe in 2 minutes? Because we have a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
what's your take on that? Like,
so the short answer is I don't know. And I'm comfortable. Like, there's some things that I feel like I know clearly, like unrefutably, and there's things that I don't. And that's something that I don't. I will say that over the past 4 or 5 months, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with the concept of death. I don't want to die. Let's be very clear. I want to live out this mission, but I'm a lot more comfortable with it. It's almost like a level of the fear has dissolved. So that's very interesting. But I do want to cover one more concept that's sort of related to this, but different, which is called the concept of parallel selves. And so if you can imagine that you are the physical form of your body, but there are parallel selves of you that are from past lifetimes, present lifetimes in different dimensions and areas, and people that and operate in the future, because all of it exists right now, that when you reach certain operating frequencies, it's called the merging of a parallel self, which is that other self somewhere else has all these skills, abilities, knowledge, wisdom, things that they found, and you can basically connect and merge with that person and get an automatic massive upgrade to everything in your being. So that's happened to me at least twice that I'm aware of. Certain signs of it are that you have like mantras or things that you weren't taught. So a mantra comes out of me from nowhere. I know what to do with my hands, how it works. Something activates and does it, and it literally came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, there's this new ability that's unlocked in you. That yourself learned in a different lifetime, and now is basically brought to you as you've elevated. Think about like knowing an entire new language in 1 second. Okay. Like, that's one example of how it would work. And so I guess to close, what I want, how I want people to think about this, because this is a heavy, trippy episode, and I'm well aware of it. And I 6 months ago would have been like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is what planet are you on? And now, having experienced it, I just think that most humans are asleep and totally like deaf and blind to what's actually all the magic that's happening around them. And so I'm here to give people the option. I know, it's very clear people are ready, people aren't. And when you're not ready, you're blind to everything that it goes right by you. And it's happened to me before, and I'm totally good with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not attached I'm not attached to anyone caring about these ideas, doing anything with them. It's an invitation to explore.
Had I known which rabbit hole we were going down, I would have probably asked you for 3.5 hours, because I still have a bunch of questions on the let's call it like maybe clumsy way to say, but like level 2 or 3, I would be more like to end with, like, if you would.
Let's go 5 minutes over. Let's keep rolling. Yeah.
So let's give the listeners and the viewers maybe 2-3 nuggets on, like, if you're building a company, you're burnt out, you're not feeling the success, you're less happy, the better the company goes. Like, what are 2 or 3 things you can give the listeners on a more the deaf and blind level, where they still can achieve a better life for now until they move into the next levels of development, so to say? Like, what would be the nuggets for super stressed entrepreneurs? I should be happy. I'm super not happy. I earn a lot of money, I can find no happiness. Like, do you have any keys? Quick ones.
Your company is a external mirror and reflection of your own internal state.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
When you're facing trying to fill holes in how you feel about yourself, rushing, urgency, feeling like you're behind, keeping up with the Joneses, scared of competition, worried what everybody thinks about you, feeling like people are out to get you, or like whatever it is, eventually your company, your external reality will reflect all of that stuff back to you. And all it is a hint.
Yeah.
It's reality is a feedback layer. All it is if you can actually see it for what it is, it's reflecting back to you the things that you need.
Yeah.
So that's how.
And so that's perfect to end with. And just want to add as well something I heard you say as well, which I'm totally behind, is that if it's super hard, if it's super complicated, you don't need to do it. You're on the wrong path. It shouldn't be. Like, it's your passion. It's what you like to do. Get rid of the bad clients. Get the good ones. Like, don't be afraid to scale down. And this is the final thing as well. When somebody says, "Oh, this lifestyle business thing," I heard you mention that as well.
Yeah.
I've heard it myself. It's a bad thing. You're not successful. You can't scale. You can't build. What if the lifestyle business, giving you the life you want to have and the way you want to live, is exactly what most companies need? I'm not saying you don't need to have employees. You don't need to scale or have processes, definitely. But you need to feel good about yourself, right? Start with yourself, and everything is going to manifest in your company and the world around you. Am I pretty on point there?
100%. Yeah,
Perfect.
it's just like when things are hard, it means that you're not on the right path. And that doesn't mean things are hard, let's blow up my company and give up. But it might mean, hey, like I'm a visionary and I need a builder.
Yeah.
Hey, like maybe there's a difference between being the CEO, being the visionary, being the owner, being the majority or minority shareholder. All these different roles exist. What is the right role for me? And with that clarity and for me, what happened was I know exactly the point of when I'm needed in a business. And then right when that point hits, I'm out. And the longer that I stay in it after that, I actually am detrimental to the business after that. And it's not that I am not involved. I don't own it. I don't share in profits or financial gain or help the operators or anything. It's just I'm not the day-to-day operator of who's in charge of doing it after a certain point. That's a really
Okay,
powerful lesson for me.
Yeah, appreciate it, and appreciate you taking time to do this. Encoded, like, where can we find you? I'm super stoked to maybe, like, do you have a program? Do you have something people like myself can jump on to be able to work with you and your company in the future? Is it only a podcast? Do you have a what's the plan moving forward? Where can we find you? Where can we follow your path and your development? Like, before we
so it's forming. And what I've realized is that in order to construct a truly new reality, you have to entirely separate from the old one. It goes the same for identities. And so I've caught myself rushing to get something else out there so that other people can see that I'm doing something and that it's moving forward and stuff like that. And I can catch myself pretending I'm building the new reality inside of an old construct. And so there's a massive sort of like lesson that I'm truly embodied on, which is that when you realize you're not in a rush when you're not in a hurry to impress people, you realize there's no rush. When you realize you're not in a hurry to impress people, you'll realize there's no rush. And so things are moving forward, things are forming. The podcast has been a great outlet for me to basically share these explorations with myself, share it. For a couple of for the past week or two, I will say, because it feels like an avalanche, truly, that I feel
Mm.
like someone should study me. Like I feel like it's that there's like a lot of research that should be done what I'm experiencing right now. Um, but anyway, I think for right now, the podcast is a great outlet. People can share that. I'm doing some experimental work with about five humans right now. But I'm not in a I'm and yeah, we have products and experiences that are under development, but I'm not in a rush. Um,
All right.
so it's been a really powerful shift for me. Coming from the work 12 hours a day, go, go, go. We need to launch that next month. Here's the schedule. Um,
So
so yeah.
Is the old Chris Walker, is he dead? Is he still alive? Is he like, are you still the KPI and SaaS and business guy, or is that gone now?
That identity is collapsed. Like I don't resonate with that identity at all, and I think that many people get stuck in a fixed identity. I would imagine that throughout my life, I've lived at least 7 or 8 different identities unconsciously. And then when you can consciously realize these are all the things about my identity, not just how I label myself as a CEO and a builder, but that I'm a workaholic and I want to control things and I find my worth in productivity and all these other underlying things. If you can see everything in it and say these don't serve me anymore, I collapse this. I'm stepping into this. It can be super powerful, and all humans can do it. It's just really hard to say goodbye to the thing that feels safe.
Of course, that's
But
always
yeah,
hard.
I feel like someone asked me a demand gen question at dinner the other day, and I just like it literally sucks my energy. Like I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's good. And these 6 levels, can we read about these in any place? Is there a website? There's somewhere we can dig into these, like, or
I'm
just like
starting to do
this?
some publishing, some on it. My Instagram has been sort of the most active right now as I explore that. So
Okay,
that's Chris Walker 171 on Instagram, where I'm sharing some of that information.
nice, perfect. Hey, I'm gonna let you go. We're a
Yep.
couple of minutes past. Appreciate it, Chris, as always. Super inspiring and interesting to see this shift, and I'm going to be following you as you move up the ladder. And yeah, have a great rest of the day, and thank you for doing this. And yeah, speak to you soon.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. And just to be clear, just because you don't understand it intellectually doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So just consider that point as you reflect on this. Thank you for having me, Oliver. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye bye.